Seen a lot of weird things in my life, but this I still can't explain. And if I didn't have somebody with me to witness it, I don't know if I'd believe it myself. You may not believe in ghosts, but I want you to listen to this story and you tell me what you think I saw. What up, y'all? Conspiracy Ninja, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me. So it sounds like some of y'all wanted to actually hear one of my personal ghost stories. Considering it's the last spooky week of the year, I thought what better time to share my first ghost story with y'all than now. Also, why not do it in the dark? Make it a little creepier. Hopefully y'all don't mind. But this one calls for a little darkness. So let me set the stage. I grew up in a town that was considered extremely haunted. It's a very old town. One of the few towns that had more dead residents than alive ones. I mean, at one point the town was in the Guinness Book of World Records, cemeteries everywhere. And in this town, we had a very infamous road, referred to by the locals as Annie's Road. This road has a big reputation in the area, has a story behind it. I'm gonna save that story for my next ghost video, because this story I'm sharing with you is only one of two paranormal experiences that I encountered on this same road. Now, if you grew up anywhere in this area, you know exactly where and what Annie's Road is. For those that don't know, it runs around the town I grew up in, and on one side is the river, and on the other side is a cemetery. And if you know anything about paranormal theories, flowing water amplifies paranormal activity. There's been numerous stories and sightings on this road, so it makes you wonder if there's something to that. Needless to say, this was a very popular road for teenagers, and at the time, I was one.
Because I used to be one.
And it was also a really convenient cut through to get from one side of the town to the other. You know, when you first get your license, if there's nothing to do, going out and taking a drive with your friends is something to do. That's what I did. So I picked up my buddy, let's call him, protect everyone's identity, let's call him Steve. So I picked him up and we went for a drive like we normally would. We decided to go down Annie's Road. For a long section, there is no lights, so it is just darkness. All you have is your headlights. It's very creepy and eerie knowing you have a cemetery to your left and there's just darkness to your right. That's a river. It's surrounded by trees, so it's like a canopy, and it's got a real, just sinister, creepy vibe. Weirdly enough, we got through the creepiest feeling section of that road, and we got into the one section of road that actually has streetlights, and we're approaching an underpass because one of the major highways runs over that road. As we're getting near to going underneath the underpass, literally out of nowhere, this black shadow. I'll be honest, the only thing I can use as a visual comparison to really help you guys picture what I saw, if you're familiar with Harry Potter, if you are, then you're familiar with the Dementors. That's literally what it looked like. It was a giant black shadow. Now I'm driving, the car's quiet. I would say the underpass is about, let's call it 75 yards ahead, 100 yards roughly. And as we're approaching that underpass, the shadow from my left as the driver crossed to the right, went right across the road, right across the front of the car. Now, it wasn't like immediately in front of the car. I would say it was about 20 yards out and about 20 feet off the ground. It was a black, shadowy mass that went and fucking just whooshed right across with this like wispy black tail. And it was quick. It was just... Again, it was at least like 15 to 20 feet off the ground. So it wasn't anything running across the street, right? It happened so suddenly that my brain like didn't compute what happened. I saw it was like, oh, the hell was that? And I thought, oh, that was, must have been, I think that was that a bird? What the? Once your brain starts like computing what you saw, you're like, whoa. Wait, hold on. That's what's going on in my head. To fill you in on the atmosphere of the vehicle right immediately after this happened, dead silence. I see it, it goes across, we go under the underpass, we get to a traffic light. We're sitting at the traffic light in silence. My friend's not saying anything, and I'm not saying anything. Not even thinking about asking, did you see that? Because I'm still trying to figure out, like, oh, that was, trying to figure out what I saw, and I'm failing. Bird? No, that wouldn't make any sense. Garbage bag blowing across the road? Definitely not that. The light turns green. I hit the gas. Now we're continuing down Annie's Road, and my buddy turns to me and goes, bro, did you see that? Oh my God, yes. It was honestly kind of funny. I realized that whole had to be a minute and a half of silence, dead silence. My buddy was going through the same thing. It was one of those like classic funny moments with a friend where you're both like, yo, what the? You saw it too? Yeah, I saw it. I don't know what the hell that was, dude. We got super excited. Immediately, we started rattling off our debunking that we were already doing in our head with each other now. Could it have been like a bird or something? And we both were like, no, there's no way. It was a big, giant, black, shadowy mass that wispily, like whisked across the road. Wisped. It was a wispy black shadow that floated across the road with like a stream of blackness behind it. Literally like a Dementor. Maybe not as like extravagant as a Dementor, but like a teenage Dementor at least. The light is above where this happened. The shadow was in the middle of the stream of light, and it was clearly its own object floating through. Even though it looked like a black shadow, you could tell it was where it was, that this was not a shadow of something. If you want to be a skeptic or a debunker, by all means, part of this channel is having a conversation about that stuff, but the light was above it and the ground was down here. There was nothing for that shadow to be casted against. It's just impossible for it to have been a shadow from a bird or something. There's no way. So for the record, this was not my first paranormal experience, but it was my first paranormal experience on Annie's Road. And I'm so grateful that I was with somebody, because we both instantly felt validated, and we literally spent the rest of the night just talking about what could it have been and coming up with all different options and ways to debunk it. I don't think my friend believed in ghosts as much as I did. I did because I've had experiences prior to that moment. So for me, it wasn't a stretch. It was just an exciting moment, and I just went through the whole ruling out everything. For him, this is the first paranormal experience he had. So again, we were both excited and in a good way, but also nervous. Like, yo, what was that? We spent the rest of the night trying to figure it out. We never came up with anything that even remotely resembled something that made sense or that you could use to debunk what we saw. It's a floating shadow 20 feet in the air. When you see stuff like that and you experience things like that, it shakes you for a little bit. Even if it seems like a harmless experience, when you can't explain something, it's this weird process of like trying to reason it out. Even if you're a believer in that stuff, which I 100% am, I still go through the debunking process. And then when you have nothing at the end of that debunking process to tell you like, yeah, this was something normal, this was a perfectly mundane experience, you just made it more than it is, all you're left with is something paranormal. It's just the weirdest feeling. You almost don't believe it, you know, if that makes sense. I don't know if anyone that's had these experiences, you probably know what I mean. Like, you almost question it after the fact. Like, did I really experience that? It's satisfying knowing someone was there to vouch what you saw, so you don't feel fucking crazy, you know? And this town I grew up in has got so many stories. I want to do another video about Annie's Road. This is one of my like little baby ghost stories. It was a real cool experience, but it's not like you really want to share my other experience that I had on Annie's Road. It's to this day the craziest experience I've ever had. There's nothing that comes close to it. I've experienced a lot of weird things. My house had activity growing up. My aunt's house in the same town had pretty significant activity, but this other story that happened on Annie's Road, I know what I saw, and it gives me literally chills right now even like thinking about it. So I hope you enjoyed that story. It's one of those things that changes your perspective on life. You have these moments in life that it's a small thing, or it seems like a small thing, and it just tweaks how you look at the world, because you're like, oh, something unexplainable is out there, and the paranormal and ghosts are real. That changes how you look at like the afterlife and just the tangible world around you. And I think it did for him quite a bit. Compilation of experiences I've had all have changed my outlook on life and how I look at things in one way or another. And if I didn't have those experiences, for all I know, I wouldn't be Conspiracy Ninja. I wouldn't be doing this page. Like, who knows? Let me know what you think I saw, and please let me know if you're interested in hearing my other Annie's Road ghost story. As always, make sure you leave a comment. Let me know what you thought. Hit that like button, follow. Stay safe, and especially stay safe during spooky season. It's just getting crazy. Stay grounded. Happy Halloween, everybody. Peace.